Limbus company recently added extreme difficulty to mirror dungeons, and with it, adversity challenges to make your life even harder. In this video, I'd like to share some tips and tricks so you can get that sweet Adversity 50 clear achievement. So let me start by saying, I'm as illiterate as the next Project Moon fan, the type of person who would message their friend while in the middle of a stream just to ask how to actually use Temp Capo Mersault, because I'm not reading all that. But I got over 2000 hours of experience in this game and had the help of the person who explained Laceout to me, so I know what I'm talking about. Mostly. Let's get into it. First thing you have to do when entering a mirror dungeon is choose your team. I'd like to think this guide will help you with any team you are playing, but just to throw some recommendations out there, Show team is very good, Tremor team is very good, Charge team is surprisingly good. I've done it with Charge, Rapture, Tremor team, which worked, but you might not have every single identity like I do, or maybe you don't have them leveled up. So just try to make some cohesive team, throw in some high clashing IDs, hopefully with at least 5 of them sharing a keyword, and let's try to make it work. Next, we are choosing our Grace of the Immortal Star. Get every single one on ++. If you don't have enough Starlight, this is not floor 15 Adversity 50 run. This is a chill, normal Starlight grinding run. Come back when you have enough and more, so you can pick starting gifts and seek specific packs if needed. Okay, good. Now that we got rid of those poor people, we can progress into some quick general tips. Since you picked every Starlight buff, the first 10 floors should be fairly easy, so pick the harder fights with bigger rewards. You can use the 5 IDs you don't actually plan to use for first floor to get their sanity to 45. Pick events. When you get into an event where you can enter a fight, that is the option you click. When you get into an event where you can level up your identities, that is the option you click. Make sure you get a high chance or even guarantee a super shop every time. Try to sell one gift in every shop for that 100% bonus from accumulating Star Cloud. Thanks to Chance Comet, you get an extra gift of a lower tier when fusing gifts of tier 3 or higher once per shop. Try to use this from early on and make sure the first gift you fuse is the highest tier one. Replace skills for the identities you are using whenever possible. This has priority over most gifts, but make sure you always keep at least one skill of the keyword you are using. If you are, for example, using Rokomorodia to get your 5 poise IDs for the gift, but replace all of her skills 1 and 2 with 3, she is no longer considered a poise ID and your fusion gift won't work. Now let's get to one of the most important things, mounting trials. Don't even look at the gifts attached, they don't matter. What matters is that you give your enemies as little clash power as possible. Every offense level is basically like 1/3 of a clash power, so simple math I always run for this is level plus offense level up plus 3 times any kind of power up, and simply pick the two that will give the lowest number. If they are tied, pick the one giving fewer levels. If still tied, pick the one with clash power over offense level, final, or base power. If it's somehow still tied, then you can actually look at what gifts are attached. I don't generally recommend ever picking coin power, but it can be alright if all the other options are bad. Here we have an example from one of my runs. The first one is enemy level +1, clash power +2, offense level +2, so that's 1 plus 2 times 3 plus 1, which is 8. Second one is actually also 8. The only difference is that it is base power instead of clash power. The third one is simply 1 plus 6, so 7. And the last one is coin power, so we are not taking that. What I would take in this situation, what I would recommend you take, is the first one and third one. For the next big part, we will be looking at gifts, which is what first made me think about making this video. Let me tell you, on this run you will have so many gifts, and I could be here for the next hour talking about how each gift benefits which teams, but you know what? I trust in you. I believe you are smart and to know that your bleed team will benefit from bleed gifts. So let's instead talk about the gifts you might not think about using since they don't match the keyword you are going for. In other words, gifts that have keywords that still benefit every single team. I'll be starting with Bleed because I like my status effects alphabetically sorted. Red Stained Gossipium. You might know it as the gift that inflicts bleed to enemies at the start of an encounter, which is probably because that is indeed what it does. But if you read more than the first line, you would know that it also reduces offense level depending on the enemy's bleed. This works for up to 15 when upgraded, which reduces their clash power by 5. And yes, keeping it at maximum outside of bleed team would be rough, but with gifts like Rusted Muzzle, you will be consistently able to keep your enemy's offense level down. And since you are keeping bleed on your opponents, might as well grab Smokes and Wires to keep them slow, and Little and To Be Naughty plushie for some extra damage. The next letter we have is also B. B for Burn. Not as strong, but Shark Disc reduces offense level of all enemies with Burn, so a simple upgraded Dust to Dust should be able to keep your enemies at -4 offense level for the whole fight. But now for something fun and important you might not know, the Ego gifts actually activate in the order you obtained them. This means that if you got Dust to Dust and then Shark Disc, all of the opponents will already get the -4 on the first turn. But if you get Shark Disc first and then Dust to Dust, they will only get the debuff from second turn. So try to get them in the correct order, since generally the first turn is the toughest. This also applies for a lot of the other gifts. Now for charge. Night Vision Goggles give +5 offense level to your identities with 15 plus charge. This is surprisingly simple to achieve with just an upgraded Lightning Rod and Charge Type gloves. But if you want the buff from turn 1, you need to make sure, again, you get the gloves before the goggles. Another surprisingly good gift that I did not even focus on before researching for this video is Binary Generative Battery from the Murder on the Warp Express. So if your journey leads you there, I recommend you grab it. Then, since you are already keeping your guys charged up, you might as well benefit from Curriculum Vitae and a Wrist Guard. Moving to Poise, this is the MVP of any mirror dungeon run, simply for how easy it is to keep Poise on non-Poise teams. Just to name the best ones, there's Nebulizer, an Ornamental Horseshoe, 4-leaf Clover, and if you run into the Miracle on District 20, the Jolly Plushie. As for what to do with all that Poise, you got Cigarette Holder, Finifugality? The fuck does that mean? Finifugality. The act of feeling or actively avoiding or prolonging the end of something. Neat. And most importantly, Clear Mirror Calm Water. This does not only quite largely increase your damage, but also increases your offense level by 15 on crit. This is +5 clash power, and while it only activates from turn 2, this is still a massive buff that you don't want to miss. For Rupture, you want a Broken Revolver, and to keep it active from turn 1, get Drill before the Revolver and Barb Lasso whenever. Not as big of a debuff, but still nice to have. You can also get some more damage if you grab a Fluorescent Lamp. There was a quick section, so let's get right to Sinking, which got some nice gifts. You want Hoarfrost Footprint, which is a fusion gift made out of Haunted Shoes and Frozen Cries. This reduces enemies' clash power by 2 if they have Sinking, and also inflates Sinking on them. Just add Melted Spring for additional -3 offense level, Skeletal Crumbs for some more damage, and Midwinter Nightmare to actually keep the sinking on the enemies. And you are set. Oh, wait, what is that? Upgraded Artistic Sense just gives +50% damage? Oh, that's we'll try to get that one as well. And last keyword, Tremor. Here you simply want Melted Eyeball and Upgraded Downpour for nice -10 offense level down on all enemies from the second turn. You can also grab Blood, Sweat and Tears for some additional damage to staggered enemies. With that, we got through all the keywords, but before we move on, I need you to know that there are obviously more gifts that will give you some benefit. The ones I mentioned are simply the ones that felt the most impactful, mostly because they either increase your ability to clash or decrease your opponents. I won't be mentioning the attack type gifts because it's quite simple. You got a lot of slashes, grab the slash gifts. You got 1 Pierce ID? Sure, grab that gift that buffs your piece attacks for a 4th slot, and make sure to move that ID to the 4th slot. There are also obviously a lot of keywordless gifts, but I'll be mentioning those I find the most impactful very soon in the next section. For now, just know that economy gifts are very good. Having some ego resource ones is helpful since you might want to spam ego, and you really should get some reliable source of healing. Oh, and you definitely want piece of the relationship. Now we are finally getting to the fun part, actually playing the game. So you start, you pick your team, pick every single grace of the immortal star. Pick your starting ego gifts, and now you get to do ego gift search. And what do you pick? You pick prestige card, you pick frozen cries, and you pick golden urn. Or maybe Pulse of Survival, I don't know which one is better. So Pulse might be better early game, but does not really scale later on. But I think either of them should just work. There's probably some math you can do to figure it out, but I have no idea how. So with this, you get to choose your first floor, which should be an automated factory. Here you really want to find a haunted shoes, and possibly also made to order, since that can be pretty nice. In the shop, you then fuse your shoes and frozen cries. On the second floor, you want to get Hell's Chicken, where you will want to find Contaminated Needle and Thread, Tango Marinade, and Sharp Needle and Thread. For floor 3, there are several good options. A Certain World for Chief Butler's Secret Hours, Nuno Violent for Hardship and Crown of Thorns, or Full Stop by Bullet for Dark Flame, Smoking Pipe, and Gear Shrapnel. On floor 4, it is important to pick one of the bags that give the additional 3 levels. One I would recommend is line 2, since it's the only floor where you can get it, and both Bridal and Metronome can be quite nice. From floor 5, it's more free, since the next 6 floors you will be offered the same packs. Ones that I can always recommend are line 1 for both Snake Slot and False Halo, Miracle in District 12. Why did I say 12 again? It's Miracle in District 20. Where you can use Jolly Flashy and Gift, line 3 for Hedged Embers, Murder on the Warp Express for Biogenerative Battery, Nocturnal Sweeping for Swishing Fuel Tank, and Time Killing Time Bogag for Emergency Investigator Badge. These are 6, but feel free to replace them with floors that might better benefit your specific team. I, for example, am not the biggest fan of the revive gifts, but it's almost inevitable that your guys will be dying on the later floors, so if you got nothing better to do, grab those. On floor 10, you also generally want to make sure all of your important gifts are upgraded, since one of the adversities will make every shop function more expensive. To find out more, Google Limbus company inflation. So you have now gotten to floor 11 with hopefully a shit ton of gifts, most of the skills replaced with skill 3s, and a positive mindset. Now it's very hard to say which of the packs here are actually the easiest, but I can definitely tell you, if you want to pick who couldn't be Blood Fiends, do that on floor 11, and definitely not later. This is a long unfocused fight where enemies have so many skill slots that you are guaranteed to take a bunch of one-sided attacks, and with how much damage everything deals at higher floors, those one-sided attacks will kill you. Similarly, Impenetrable Path has a lot of counterattacks, which will also just kill you. Line 3 Terminus is probably the easiest one, but I also don't think I've ever done this one on floor 15, so it's hard to say. Bridal of Infinity also does not feel too bad, as both you want to get beat heartily and Shock Centipede are quite easy. My From Emptiness will take a while, but I wouldn't call it hard. I've seen someone on Reddit calling CCR the easiest, but I've done that one just once, and I was on floor 11 or 12, so I can't say. Just in general, on these floors, you have to be careful about unbreakable coins or unclashable attacks, because if you don't get a resistant ID to take those, they might just insta-kill you. And if you find the secret bosses, try to kill them. The gifts are really strong, but at the same time, getting them on floor 15 is really tough, so you might want to skip if you get them late. Well, that's it. Hopefully this will help you with your own runs. I myself wasn't doing it exactly this way before making this video, but when I started writing it, I did make one run trying to follow my own advice. It's the run you could see on the background of the video, and I'd say it went quite well. I had to reset once on floor 14, but would overall call it easy. Definitely much easier than, for example, my charge rupture tremor run, where I had to reset floor 15 like 10 times. By the way, while working on this video, a bunch of community members also released a written guide, so if you would like a different perspective, I will be linking it in the description. There's a lot of overlap in what we cover, but I go into more detail. For example, there's whole ranking of all the mounting trials, so it's definitely worth checking out. That will be it from me today. If you got some questions or additional tips, feel free to leave them in the comments. Thank you for stopping by, and bye!